The alarm clock buzzed at exactly 6 in the morning. It's just like it had every day for the past 3 years. Dr. Lee. Dae-ho rolled out of his narrow bed in the underground facility and stared at the concrete ceiling. Another day of studying alien technology that wanted to kill him? Another day of trying to understand creatures that Earth's military said were monsters? Dae-ho splashed cold water on his face and looked in the small mirror above his sink. Dark circles under his eyes told the story of too many sleepless nights spent wondering if humanity was fighting the right war. His black hair stuck up in different directions, and his reflection looked tired. He was only 32, but working. In the most classified facility in Neo-Seoul had aged him. The cafeteria was nearly empty when he arrived. Most researchers worked different shifts to maintain security. Dae-ho grabbed a cup of synthetic coffee and sat alone at his usual table. The drink tasted like metal, but it helped him wake up. Through the reinforced windows, he could see nothing but darkness. The facility was built so deep underground, the natural light never reached the lower levels. Dr. Park. Hyo-jin walked into the cafeteria carrying a tablet and looking worried. She was younger than Dae-ho, maybe 28, with short black hair, and thick glasses that made her eyes look bigger. She had been his research partner for 2 years, and he trusted her more than anyone else in the facility. Bad news, she said, sitting across from him. Admiral Kim wants results on the communication device by end of week. The brass thinks the alien fleet might arrive sooner than expected. Dae-ho nodded and drank his coffee. The communication device was their current nightmare. They had recovered it from a crashed alien ship 6 months ago. It looked like a smooth black stone, but scans showed it contained technology that made human computers look like toys. Every time they tried to activate it, something went wrong. Equipment exploded. Researchers got sick. Once a lab technician had started speaking in a language that did not exist. Any ideas? Hyo-jin asked. Maybe we should try the neural interface, Dae-ho said. Direct brain connection might work better than external computers. Hyo-jin looked alarmed. That is against protocol. Direct neural contact with alien technology is forbidden. What if it damages your mind? What if it does not? Dae-ho replied. We have tried everything else. The device responds to brainwaves. Maybe it needs a living connection to work properly. They finished breakfast in silence and walked to Laboratory 7. The communication device sat in the center of the room inside a containment field. It was about the size of a human head, perfectly round and completely black. Sometimes Dae-ho thought he could see lights moving inside it, but the sensors never detected anything. The neural interface chair looked like something from a hospital. Wires and sensors covered the headrest, designed to read brain activity and translate thoughts into computer commands. They had used it to study human psychic abilities, but never with alien technology. This is a bad idea, Hyo-jin said as she prepared the equipment. If something goes wrong, I cannot help you. The neural link works both ways. If the device attacks your mind, it might attack mine too. Dae-ho sat in the chair and let her attach. The sensors to his head, the metal felt cold against his skin. Just monitor my vital signs. If my brain activity gets dangerous, cut the connection immediately. She activated the containment field controls and slowly moved the alien device closer. To the neural interface array, the black stone began to glow with soft blue light. The laboratory computers started beeping as they detected energy readings they had never seen before. Dae-ho, Hyo-jin said nervously. The device is responding to your presence. Heart rate and brain activity are both increasing. I can feel it, he whispered. There was something alive inside the stone, something waiting. Something that had been alone for a very long time. Hyo-jin initiated the neural connection sequence. The interface chair hummed as it synchronized with Dae-ho's brain patterns. On the monitor screens, his thoughts appeared as waves of colored light. Everything looked normal for the first few seconds. Then the alien device exploded with brightness. Pain shot through Dae-ho's skull like lightning. He gripped the arms of the chair as something vast and foreign crashed into his mind. Felt like standing in an ocean during a storm, with waves of alien thoughts washing over him. He expected anger or hatred, the kind of violent mental attack that the military briefings had warned about. Instead, he felt curiosity, The presence in his mind was gentle, almost careful. It touched his thoughts like someone examining a flower, without wanting to damage it. There was intelligence there, and something else that surprised him completely. Loneliness. Terrible. Aching loneliness. Images flashed through his consciousness. Stars and planets he had never seen. Cities that floated in clouds of gas around giant worlds. Creatures that looked almost human, but with skin that changed colors like mood rings. And through all of it, a sense of desperate need to communicate. To connect. To end the isolation. "Hello," a voice said inside his head. It sounded female, speaking perfect Korean with an accent he could not identify. "Please do not be afraid. I have been trying to reach your people for so long." Daeho tried to speak, but his voice would not work. The connection was too intense, too overwhelming. He could barely think his own thoughts with the alien presence. Sharing his mind. "My name is Nara," the voice continued. "I am a scout for the Kalani Collective. We have been watching your species for many years. You're remarkable, creative, and brave, and full of potential. We want to be friends." Friends. The word echoed in Daeho's mind. Every briefing he had ever attended said the aliens were invaders. Every report claimed they wanted to destroy humanity or make them slaves. But this creature, this Nara, felt nothing like a monster. She felt curious and kind and desperately sad. "Your military attacks us whenever we try to make contact," Nara continued. "We send messages of peace, but you respond with weapons. Many of my people have died trying to talk to yours. I was in that ship when it crashed.
Ow.
I have been trapped. In this communication device, waiting for someone who could hear me. Alarm bells started ringing throughout the laboratory. Red lights flashed on the walls. Daeho could hear Hyojin shouting into her radio, calling for security. The neural interface was overloading, sending dangerous feedback through the laboratory systems. "I have to go," Nara said urgently. "Your people are coming, and they will try to hurt me. But please, remember what I have told you. We are not your enemies? We never were." The connection started to fade, but Daeho fought to maintain it. This was the most important moment in human history, and security guards were about to destroy it. Without thinking, he reached out with his mind and helped Nara pull back safely into the communication device. The neural feedback that should have trapped her instead became a pathway for her to escape. The alien device went dark, just as armed soldiers burst into the laboratory. They pointed their weapons at Daeho, while medics checked his vital signs. His head felt empty without Nara's presence, like a room after a friend had left. "What happened?" demanded Captain Song, the facility security chief. "Sensors detected. Massive alien activity. Equipment malfunction," Hyojin said quickly. The neural interface overloaded when it connected to the alien device. Dr. Lee appears to be unharmed. Captain Song looked suspicious, but the readings on his scanner showed nothing unusual. The communication device appeared to be completely inactive, just a black stone sitting in its containment field. After questioning them for an hour, he finally ordered his men to leave. That night, Daeho lay in his narrow bed and stared at the ceiling. His head still ached from the neural connection, but something else was bothering him. Every official report said the aliens were hostile.
Ow.
Every briefing claimed they wanted to conquer Earth, but Nara had felt nothing like an invader. She had felt like someone reaching across an impossible distance, hoping to find a friend. As he drifted off to sleep, he felt a gentle touch against his thoughts, soft and careful, like someone knocking on a door. "May I come in?" Nara's voice whispered in his mind. "I promise I will not hurt you." Against every rule he had sworn to follow, against every training session that had taught him, aliens were humanity's greatest threat. Daeho opened his mind to her. "Yes," he thought back. "Come in." 3 weeks had passed since the laboratory accident, and Daeho's life had become a careful dance of lies and secrets. During the day, he worked alongside Dr. Park Hyojin, pretending to study the now silent communication device. During his sleep hours, he opened his mind to Nara and learned things that would change everything he believed about the war between Earth and the aliens. The first lesson she taught him was how to hide their connection. Human minds, she explained, broadcast thoughts like radio signals. Anyone with the right equipment could detect unusual brain activity. But the Kalani had learned to create mental shields, invisible barriers that kept private thoughts safe from scanning. "Imagine a wall made of mirror," Nara whispered in his mind as he lay in his narrow bed. "Your thoughts bounce off the inside, but anyone looking from outside only sees their own reflection." Deho practiced the technique every night. It was harder than it sounded. Human brains were not designed for telepathic communication. His head ached constantly during the first week, and twice he nearly passed out during routine medical examinations. But gradually, the shields became stronger. His brain activity readings returned to normal levels, and the facility doctors stopped asking worried questions. The second lesson was about her people. The Kalani Collective was nothing like Earth's military reports described. They were not conquerors or destroyers. They were explorers who had been traveling between stars for thousands of years, seeking knowledge and friendship with other thinking species. "We have met 47 different civilizations," Nara told him one night. "Some were friendly, others feared us, attacked us. But we have never destroyed a world or enslaved a people. Violence brings only sadness." Through their mental link, she showed him memories of her home. Deho saw cities that floated among the clouds of gas giant planets, held aloft by technology that seemed like magic. The buildings were alive, growing like coral reefs but shaped by intelligent design. Gardens filled with plants from 100 different worlds created rainbow forests that stretched beyond the horizon. The Kalani themselves were beautiful in a way that made Deho's heart ache. They looked similar to humans, but taller and more graceful. Their skin could change colors to match their emotions, shifting from pale blue when calm to golden yellow when happy. Their eyes were larger than human eyes, with pupils that could dilate to see in almost complete darkness. "Your people call us monsters," Nara said sadly. "But we think humans are wonderful, create such amazing things. Music and art and stories that make us laugh and cry. We have been studying your broadcasts for decades. Your emotions are so intense, so pure. We wanted to meet you and learn from you. Then why is there a war?" Deho asked through their connection. The answer made him feel sick. There was no war. Not really. For the past 15 years, Earth's military had been attacking Kalani scout ships that came in peace. Every alien vessel that approached Earth's solar system carried diplomats and scientists, not soldiers. They sent messages of friendship in dozens of human languages, but the military intercepted the communications and classified them as threats. "The first ship that reached your system carried gifts," Nara explained. "Medical technology that could cure most human diseases. Energy systems that would end pollution on your world. Art and music from dozens of civilizations. But your military shot it down before it could deliver anything. Why did they keep coming if we attack them?" Deho wondered. "Because we believe. In you, your species is young, but you have such potential. We hoped that someday someone would listen. Someone would understand that we come as friends." Night after night, Nara shared more memories with him. He experienced the vast loneliness of space travel between distant stars. He felt the excitement Kalani explorers felt when they discovered a new world with intelligent life. He understood their gentle philosophy of connection and cooperation, so different from humanity's competitive nature. But the most surprising thing was how much Nara enjoyed learning about human culture through his memories. She was fascinated by concepts that humans took for granted. Individual privacy, for example, was almost unknown among the Kalani. They shared thoughts and emotions freely, living in a kind of permanent mental community. The idea that humans could keep secrets from each other, could have private thoughts and personal dreams amazed her. "You are all so separate," she said with wonder. "Each human mind is like a single star in the darkness. But that separation makes you strong in ways we are not. You can disagree with your leaders. You can choose different paths. You can love someone who is completely different from you." Love. The word appeared in Deho's mind before he could stop it. Is that what was happening between them? Could a human and an alien truly care for each other in that way? "I do not." "No," Nara admitted, sensing his confusion. Among my people, love is a group emotion. We love our collective, our shared purpose, our unity. But this feeling I have for you is different. Personal, individual. It frightens me, but it also makes me happy in a way I have never experienced. Their conversations continued for hours each night. Nara told him about the approaching diplomatic fleet, hundreds of ships carrying the greatest minds of the Kalani Collective. They planned to make one final attempt at peaceful contact with humanity. If this mission failed, the Kalani would leave Earth's solar system forever and mark humans as a species too dangerous for contact. "How long do we have?" Deho asked. "Less than 2 months, but I fear your military is preparing for battle. We have detected massive weapons being moved into defensive positions. Your leaders do not want peace." During the day, Deho tried to work normally, but everything felt different. When Admiral Kim visited the facility to review their progress, Deho had to fight the urge to tell him the truth. When his colleagues discussed new weapons being developed to fight the aliens, he wanted to scream that they were making a terrible mistake. The worst moment came when Dr. Park Hyo-jin noticed his strange behavior. She was too intelligent to fool for long, and she knew him too well to believe his excuses. "You have been acting odd since the neural interface accident," she said. One morning, as they worked in the laboratory, "Your brain scans look normal, but something is different. Are you feeling well?" "I am fine," Deho led. "I'm just tired from too much work." "Your sleep patterns are irregular," she continued, studying her tablet. "And yesterday I saw you talking to yourself in the cafeteria. If the alien device damaged your mind in some way, you need to tell me. I might be able to help." Deho looked at his friend and colleague, someone he had worked with for 2 years. Hyojin was brilliant and dedicated, but she was also completely loyal to Earth's military. If he told her about Nara, she would report it immediately. He would be arrested as a traitor, and any chance of preventing war would be lost. "I promise." "I am well," he said. "I was worried about the approaching alien fleet like everyone else." That night, as he connected his mind to Nara's, Deho realized how much his life had changed. 3 weeks ago, he had been a loyal researcher working to defend humanity from alien threats. He was in love with one of those supposed threats, hiding secrets that could save or damn both species. "What are we going to do?" he asked Nara. "I do not know," she replied. "But whatever happens, I am glad we found each other. Even if both our peoples think it is wrong, what we have is real, what is beautiful." Deho fell asleep with her presence. Warm in his mind, dreaming of floating cities and rainbow forests. While outside his small room, Earth's military prepared for a war that should never happen. The emergency alarm jolted Deho awake at 4 in the morning. Red lights flashed in his quarters as the facility's speakers crackled to life with an urgent announcement. All senior staff were to report to the main briefing room immediately. No exceptions. Deho threw on his uniform and ran through the concrete corridors, his heart pounding. Had someone discovered his connection with Nara? Were the Kalani ships closer than expected? The facility buzzed with nervous energy as researchers and military personnel hurried to their assignments. The briefing room was packed with people Deho had not seen in months. High-ranking officers from Earth's Space Defense Forces sat alongside the facility's top scientists. At the front of the room stood a man Deho recognized from news broadcasts, but had never met in person. Admiral Kim Jae-wook, head of Earth's Xenobiological Defense Division. Admiral Kim was in his 50s, with gray hair and sharp eyes that seemed to see everything. His uniform was covered with medals from various alien encounters, each one representing a battle where humans had fought against creatures from other worlds. When he spoke, his voice carried the authority of someone who had dedicated his life to protecting humanity. "Long-range sensors have detected the largest alien fleet in recorded history," the Admiral announced. "Over 300 ships approaching our solar system. Based on their size and formation, we believe this is a full-scale invasion force." The room filled with worried whispers. Deho felt sick to his stomach. 300 ships sounded like an enormous number, but he knew the truth. Those were not warships. They were diplomatic vessels, carrying scientists, artists, and peacemakers who wanted to share their knowledge with humanity. Intelligence suggests they will reach Earth's defensive perimeter in 6 weeks, Admiral Kim continued. This facility has been chosen as the primary research center for developing countermeasures against their technology. Every project here is now classified at the highest level. Any security breach will be treated as treason. Dr. Park Hyojin raised her hand. Sir, what about attempts at communication? Have we tried to determine their intentions? The Admiral's expression hardened. Dr. Park, these creatures have been probing our defenses for 15 years. Every encounter has resulted in human casualties. They are not interested in talking. They want to conquer us. Daeho wanted to stand up and shout that everything the Admiral said was wrong. The human casualties had happened because Earth's military attacked peaceful scouts. The probing of defenses was actually attempts to find safe ways to approach without triggering a violent response. He stayed silent, knowing that speaking would only make things worse. After the briefing, Daeho returned to his laboratory in a daze. The weight of what he knew felt like a mountain on his shoulders. In 6 weeks, 2 civilizations would destroy each other based on a complete misunderstanding. He was probably the only person on Earth who could prevent it, but doing so would require revealing his illegal contact with Nara. The day became even worse when his sister, Lisora, arrived at the facility for a surprise visit. She worked as a pilot in Earth's defense fleet and had been granted special permission to see her brother before the upcoming battle. Sora was 28 years old, 3 years younger than Daeho, with the same dark eyes and stubborn personality that ran in their family. Big brother, she said, giving him a tight hug in the facility's visiting room. I wanted to see you before things get dangerous. A squadron has been assigned to the front lines when the aliens arrive. Daeho's heart broke a little. Sora was excited about the coming battle. He was confident that humanity would prove its superiority over what she called the alien invaders. She talked about her new fighter ship and the advanced weapons Earth's military had developed. All her enthusiasm for a war that was based on lies made Daeho feel physically ill. Are you scared? He asked her. Scared? Sora laughed. I am thrilled. This is what I trained for my whole life. We are going to show these monsters that humans do not bow down to anyone. My ship has enough firepower to destroy an alien cruiser in a single attack run. Daeho imagined his sister firing those weapons at ships full of peaceful diplomats. He thought about Nara's people, who had traveled across the galaxy hoping to make friends, only to be met with violence and hatred. The tragedy of it all made him want to cry. That night, when he connected his mind to Nara's, he shared his growing desperation. Through their mental link, she felt his pain and confusion. She also brought terrible news from her own people. The collective has discovered our connection, she told him sadly. My mentor, Elder Kira, knows that I have been communicating with a human. Some of the leaders want to recall the diplomatic fleet. They believe your species is too dangerous. For contact, what did you tell them? Daeho asked. I told them about you, about your kindness and your desire for peace. But many of my people think I have been compromised. They worry that you are manipulating me, using our connection to gather intelligence about our ships and weapons. The irony was bitter. Earth's military thought Daeho was being controlled by aliens, while the aliens thought he was controlling one of them. Both sides suspected betrayal where there was only love and a desperate wish for understanding. There is worse news, Nara continued. Our scouts report that Earth is moving massive weapons platforms into position around your solar system. Energy readings suggest weapons powerful enough to destroy entire fleets. Your military is not preparing for defense. They are preparing for extermination. Daeho felt the walls of his small world closing in around him. Earth was planning to slaughter hundreds of peaceful visitors, and the Kalani were considering abandoning their mission entirely. Either way, the chance for peace between the species would be lost forever. The next morning brought another crisis. Dr. Park Hyojin confronted him directly about his suspicious behavior. She had been monitoring his vital signs during routine medical checks and noticed irregularities that suggested he was hiding something important. Your brain activity shows patterns I have never seen before, she said, cornering him in the laboratory. While they were alone, REM sleep occurs at irregular intervals, suggesting mental activity during waking hours. Your stress hormones are elevated, but you show no signs of normal anxiety. It is as if part of your mind is somewhere else. Daeho tried to look confused. I do not understand what you mean. I think you do. Hyojin pulled up a chart on her tablet showing his brain scans over the past month. These readings started immediately after the neural interface accident. I think something happened during that connection, something you have not reported. The accident was just equipment failure, Daeho insisted. You were there. You saw what happened. I saw what appeared to happen, Hyojin corrected. But I have been reviewing the data. The alien device showed massive energy output for 17 minutes. That is too long for a simple malfunction. It was responding to something, or someone. Daeho realized that his brilliant colleague was too smart to fool much longer. Her scientific mind was putting together pieces of evidence that pointed directly to the truth. Soon she would have enough proof to report her suspicions to Admiral Kim. That night, as he lay in his narrow bed, Daeho faced the impossible weight of his situation. His sister was preparing to die in a war that should not happen. His species was about to commit genocide against visitors who came in peace. The woman he loved belonged to a people who might abandon Earth forever rather than risk more violence, and he was the only person who could change any of it. What should I do? He asked Nara through their mental connection. I do not know, she replied, her thoughts heavy with sadness. But whatever you choose, choose quickly. Time is running out for both our peoples. Daeho closed his eyes and tried to imagine a future where humans and Kalani lived as friends instead of enemies. It seemed like an impossible dream, but it was the only dream worth fighting for. Desperation drove Daeho to make the worst decision of his life. After 3 sleepless nights weighing his options, he decided to take an enormous risk. He would convince Dr. Park Hyojin to help him recreate the neural interface accident, but this time he would include her in the connection. If she could experience Nara's consciousness directly, she might understand the truth about the colon. It was a dangerous plan. Military protocols strictly forbade unauthorized neural experiments, especially with alien technology. If they were caught, both of them would face treason charges. But Daeho could not think of any other way to prove that the approaching fleet came in peace. He approached Hyojin carefully, spinning a story about discovering how to weaponize the alien communication device. He claimed he had found a way to use the neural interface to create a feedback loop that would disable alien ships from long range. It was a complete lie, but it gave them a legitimate reason to attempt the dangerous experiment, and this could change everything, Daeho told her, as they worked late in Laboratory 7. If we can turn their own communication technology against them, we might be able to stop the invasion without losing a single human life. Hyojin looked skeptical but intrigued. The risks are enormous. Direct neural contact with alien technology could permanently damage both our minds. The entire human race is at risk, Daeho replied. What are 2 minds compared to the survival of our species? She studied the brain scan data he had fabricated, which showed theoretical pathways for the feedback weapon he described. His lies were convincing because they were based on real science, just applied in ways that would never actually work. After an hour of discussion, she agreed to help him. They prepared the neural interface chairs in secret. Working during the night shift when most of the facility was asleep, Daeho connected his mind to the communication device first, establishing the link with Nara that had become as natural as breathing. Through their connection, he explained what he was trying to do. I am going to bring another human into our link, he told her. She is my friend and colleague. If she can experience your thoughts directly, she might help prevent the war. It is very dangerous, Nara warned. Human minds are not designed for shared consciousness. If she fights the connection, it could harm all 3 of us. We'll have to. Try, Daeho insisted. Time is running out. He nodded to Hyojin, who activated the second neural interface chair and lowered herself into it. The sensors attached to her head began reading her brain patterns, synchronizing them with Daeho's mental activity. For a moment, everything seemed to work perfectly. Then disaster struck, when Hyojin's consciousness touched Naros for the first time.
Ow.
Her military training took complete control. Years of conditioning that taught her aliens were humanity's greatest enemy overrode her scientific curiosity. Instead of experiencing wonder at contact with another intelligence, she felt only terror and rage. "Invasion!" she screamed, both aloud and mentally. "Hostile mental invasion." Her panicked thoughts crashed through the neural link like a tidal wave. The feedback loop that Daiho had lied about actually began to form, but in reverse. Instead of weaponizing the alien device, Hyojin's fear was turning her own mind into a weapon against Nara. Nara cried out in pain as Hyojin's hostile thoughts attacked her consciousness. The gentle alien had never experienced anything like human hatred and violence. Her people shared minds willingly and peacefully. Being assaulted mentally was like being physically tortured. "Stop!" Daiho shouted, trying to shield Nara from Hyojin's mental attack. "She is not an enemy. She is trying to help us." But Hyojin could not hear him over her own panic. Her hand found the emergency alert button on her chair and slammed it down. Immediately, alarms began wailing throughout the facility. Emergency lights bathed the laboratory in pulsing red. The sound of running footsteps echoed through the corridors as security teams responded to the alert. Daiho fought desperately to disconnect the neural interfaces safely, but the feedback loop was growing stronger. The alien communication device began to glow with dangerous energy levels. Sparks flew from the laboratory computers as they overloaded. The mental connection between three different consciousnesses was tearing apart in the most violent way possible. "Nara," he called through their link. "Can you break free?" "I am trying," she replied weakly. "But the other human's mind is like a storm. So much fear and anger. I did not know your people could feel such things." The laboratory door burst open as armed security guards flooded in. Captain Song led the team, his weapon drawn and ready. Behind him came Admiral Kim himself, awakened by reports of alien activity. "At the highest levels ever recorded, shut it down," the Admiral ordered. "Shut everything down now." Dr. Park Hyojin was unconscious in her chair, overwhelmed by the neural feedback. Her vital signs were dangerously unstable. Medics rushed to disconnect her from the interface. Technicians worked frantically to power down the alien device. Daiho felt Nara's presence fading from his mind as the connection was severed. In their final moment of contact, she shared her terror and confusion. The violence of Hyojin's mental attack had convinced her that humans truly were as dangerous as some Kalani leaders believed. "I am sorry," she whispered, before disappearing completely. "I thought your people could be different. I was wrong." The communication device went dark and silent. Emergency teams swarmed the laboratory, checking for radiation or other dangerous effects. Admiral Kim stood over Daiho's chair, his face cold with suspicion and anger. "Explain what happened here," the Admiral demanded. Daiho's mind raced as he tried to think of a believable lie. "We were testing a theory about weaponizing the alien communication technology. The experiment went wrong. The device overloaded and attacked Dr. Park's mind." "Attacked her mind how?" "Hostile mental contact. The alien device tried to take control of her thoughts. She fought back, but the neural feedback was too strong." Admiral Kim studied the readings on the damaged computers. The energy levels and brain activity patterns were unlike anything the facility had ever recorded. More importantly, the data showed clear evidence of intelligent alien activity during the experiment. "This was not a simple malfunction," the Admiral said slowly. "This was active alien interference." The device responded to Dr. Park's neural patterns as if it were alive. 2 hours later, Daiho sat in a holding cell deep beneath the facility. The charges against him were severe: conducting unauthorized experiments with alien technology, endangering a colleague's life, and possible collaboration with hostile forces. The evidence against him was damning. Security teams had searched his quarters and found his hidden research notes about Kalani biology and communication methods. To the investigators, it looked like proof that he had been working with the aliens for weeks. The fact that his brain scans showed unusual patterns dating back to the original neural interface accident only made things worse. Admiral Kim visited him personally in his cell. The older man sat across from Daiho at a small metal table, his expression unreadable. 23 years I've been fighting these creatures," the Admiral said quietly. "I have seen what they do to human minds. I have watched good soldiers turn into their puppets, but you are different. You chose to work With them, I did not work with anyone, Deho lied. The experiment was my idea. I thought we could use their technology against them. Your research notes tell a different story. You know things about alien biology that are not in any of our files. You understand their language patterns you've been communicating with them. Admiral Kim leaned forward across the table. Here's what I think happened. That first accident was not an accident. The alien device infected your mind, turned you into their agent. Tonight was not an experiment. It was an attempt to infect Dr. Park the same way. The accusation hung in the air like poison. Deho realized that, no matter what he said, the Admiral would never believe the truth. The military had built their entire worldview around the idea that aliens were evil. Any evidence to the contrary was seen as proof of alien manipulation. I can offer you a chance to redeem yourself, Admiral Kim continued. Use your connection with the aliens to feed them false information. Lead their fleet into a trap. Help us destroy them completely, and your treason charges will be reduced. Deho stared at the Admiral in horror. They wanted him to betray Nara and her people, to help murder hundreds of peaceful diplomats. The offer made him feel sick to his stomach. I will not help you kill innocent beings, he said quietly. Admiral Kim's expression hardened. Then you have chosen their side over your own species. That makes you humanity's greatest traitor. As the Admiral left his cell, Deho closed his eyes and tried to reach out to Nara through their mental connection, but he found only silence. The violent encounter with Hyojin had damaged something fundamental in their link. For the first time in weeks, his mind felt completely alone. Outside his cell, Earth's military prepared for the greatest battle in human history. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, the Kalani diplomatic fleet continued its approach, unaware that their hopes for peace had just died in a laboratory beneath Neosol. 3 days passed in the concrete cell before Deho made his choice. 3 days of questioning, threats, and sleepless nights, staring at gray walls. 3 days of silence in his mind, where Nara's voice used to be. The isolation was worse than any physical torture. On the 4th morning, Admiral Kim returned with a proposal that would change everything. The alien fleet will reach our outer defense perimeter in 18 days, the Admiral said, sitting across from Deho at the metal table. Our long-range sensors show they are maintaining standard formation, approaching at consistent speed. They have no idea we know they are coming. Deho said nothing. He had learned that silence was safer than trying to defend himself. We are going to give you one chance to prove your loyalty to humanity, Admiral Kim continued. You will use your alien connection to send false information about our defenses. Tell them our weapons are weaker than they actually are. Convince them to attack our strongest positions first. When they fall into our trap, we will destroy their entire fleet in a single coordinated strike. The plan was brilliant in its cruelty. Earth's military wanted to use Deho's love for Nara as a weapon against her people. It would force him to betray the Kalani by threatening to execute him as a traitor if he refused. What if I cannot re-establish contact? Deho asked. Then you will die as humanity's greatest enemy, the Admiral replied coldly. But I think you will find a way. Love makes people do impossible things. That afternoon, they brought Deho back to laboratory 7, under heavy guard. The room had been repaired since the accident, but scorch marks on the walls reminded him of how badly his last plan had failed. Dr. Park Hyojin was not present. He heard from a guard that she was still recovering in the medical wing, her mind damaged by the violent neural feedback. The alien communication device sat in its containment field, dark and silent. Deho wondered if Nara was still trapped inside, or if she had found some way to escape back to her ship. The thought of her being alone and frightened made his chest ache. You have 30 minutes to establish contact, Captain Song announced. If you fail, you go back to your cell to wait for execution. Deho sat in the neural interface chair and let the technicians attach the sensors to his head. As the connection initialized, he reached out with his mind, searching for any trace of Nara's presence. For long minutes he found nothing but empty. Darkness then, faintly, like a whisper across an impossible distance, he felt her. Deho. Mental voice was weak and frightened. Is that really you? I thought you were dead. I am alive, he replied through their connection. But I am in great danger. My people have discovered our link. They want me to betray you, I know. I've been hiding in the deep systems of this device, afraid to emerge. The violent thoughts from your colleague damaged something in my mind. I did not realize humans could feel such hatred. Around them, the laboratory equipment registered increasing alien activity. Admiral Kim and his staff watched the readings with satisfaction, believing their plan was working perfectly. Listen to me carefully, Daeho continued. Earth's military is preparing an ambush. They know about your diplomatic fleet. They think you are invaders, and they plan to destroy every ship. Shock and terror flooded through their mental link. That is impossible. We sent messages explaining our peaceful intentions. We transmitted mathematical proofs of friendship, universal symbols of cooperation. Your messages were never delivered to civilian leaders. The military intercepted everything and classified it as hostile communications. My people think you want to conquer us. Nara's anguish was overwhelming. Hundreds of our greatest minds are approaching your world. Scientists, artists, philosophers, who dreamed of meeting humanity. They will all die because of a misunderstanding. Felt tears running down his face. Technicians monitoring his vital signs attributed his emotional response to alien mental influence. Not knowing he was watching two civilizations march toward mutual destruction. I can help you, he whispered through their connection. I can send you information about Earth's defense positions, our weapon capabilities, our attack plans. You can use it to protect your people. That would make you a traitor to your own species. My species is wrong. Your people came in peace, and we are planning genocide. If loving you and trying to save innocent lives makes me a traitor, then I accept that label. Through their mental link, Daeho began sharing classified military information. The locations of Earth's hidden weapon platforms, the firing patterns of the orbital defense grid, the exact timing of the planned ambush. Everything he had learned. During his years working for the military, Nara received the information with growing horror. Your weapons are so much more powerful than we realized. Our ships have no defenses against these energy levels. We never developed military technology because we never needed it. Can you warn your fleet in time? Yes, but changing our approach pattern will look suspicious to your military. They will know someone gave us advance warning. Let them know I do not care anymore. Outside the neural interface chair, Admiral Kim was becoming suspicious. The energy readings showed massive data transfer between Daeho and the alien device. But in the wrong direction? Information was flowing from human to alien, not the reverse. What is he telling them? The Admiral demanded Captain Song checked his instruments. Unknown, sir. The neural patterns suggest complex communication, but we cannot decode the content. Admiral Kim's face darkened with understanding. He is not following orders. He is warning them about our defenses. Security guards moved toward the neural interface chair, but Daeho was not finished. Through his connection with Nara, he sensed movement in the facility corridors. Someone was coming to see him, someone whose presence filled him with dread. My sister is here, he told Nara. She commands a fighter squadron in Earth's fleet. She believes she is defending humanity from monsters. What will you tell her? The truth, even if it destroys our relationship forever. The laboratory door opened, and Lee Sora entered, wearing her pilot's uniform. Her face was pale with shock and disbelief. Someone had told her about her brother's arrest, about the charges of treason and alien collaboration. Is it true? She asked, her voice breaking. Did you really betray us to help the aliens? Daeho looked at his sister, the person he loved most in the world, besides Nara. He could lie to Admiral Kim and the military officers, but he could not lie to Sara. Yes, he said simply. I helped them because they are not our enemies. Came in peace, and we were planning to murder them. Sora staggered backward as if he had struck her. How can you say that? These creatures are invaders. Monsters who want to enslave humanity. They're explorers who want to be our friends. I've been talking with one of them for weeks. Her name is Nara, and she is kind and gentle and nothing. Like the propaganda claims? You are insane, Sora whispered. They did something to your mind, changed you somehow. They changed my heart, Deho corrected. I fell in love with someone who showed me that the universe is bigger and more wonderful than I ever imagined. Someone who belongs to a species that has never started a war or destroyed a world. His sister's face crumpled with grief and rage. You chose them over us. Over me. Over everyone you swore to protect. I chose peace over war, love over hatred, understanding over fear. Sora turned and ran from the laboratory, unable to bear seeing her brother's face any longer. Admiral Kim ordered the guards to disconnect Deho from the neural interface immediately, but the damage was done. Through his connection with Nara, Deho had transmitted enough classified information to save the Kalani diplomatic fleet from Earth's ambush. The approaching ships would change course, taking defensive positions that would make a surprise attack impossible. As the neural connections severed, Nara's final message echoed in Deho's mind. Thank you for choosing love over loyalty. Whatever happens next, remember that you saved hundreds of innocent lives today. Admiral Kim stood over Deho's chair, his face twisted with fury. You have doomed your own species to protect alien invaders. History will remember you as the man who gave Earth to its enemies. History will remember me as the man who tried to prevent a war based on lies, Deho replied calmly. As they dragged him back to his cell, Deho felt strangely peaceful. He had made his choice, and despite the cost, he knew it was right. Somewhere in the darkness between stars, Nara was using his gift of information to save her people. That knowledge made everything else bearable, even the hatred in his sister's eyes, even the certainty that he would never see home again. The escape plan came from an unexpected source. On his 7th day in the concrete cell, Deho received a visitor he never thought would come. Dr. Park Hyojin. She walked slowly, her movements careful and uncertain. The violent neural feedback had left her mind fragile, but her eyes held a clarity that had not been there before. I remember everything, she said quietly, sitting across from him at the metal table. The connection with the alien consciousness, her thoughts, her emotions, her memories. It was not an attack. It was an attempt at communication that I destroyed. With my fear, Deho stared at his colleague in amazement. You believe me now? I analyzed the neural interface data from our experiment. The alien presence was gentle, curious, even protective. When I panicked and fought back, she tried to shield my mind from damage instead of defending herself. No hostile invader would do that. Hyojin leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper. I have been reviewing classified files about previous alien encounters. Every single incident follows the same pattern. Unknown ships approach peacefully, transmit complex mathematical signals, then retreat when our military responds with weapons. We have been attacking diplomats for 15 years. Why are you telling me this? Because I think you are the only person who can prevent a massacre? The Kalani fleet changed course based on the information you gave them. Admiral Kim believes they are preparing for battle, but their new formation is purely defensive. They are trying to protect themselves, not attack us. Hope flickered in Deho's chest for the first time in days. Can you help me? To do more than help you, Hyojin said firmly. I am going to get you out of here. 2 hours later, alarms began wailing throughout the facility. Emergency lights flashed as the automated systems detected a massive power surge in the main computer core. Dr. Park Hyojin had triggered a cascading failure. It would take hours to repair, drawing every technician and security guard away from the detention level. During the chaos, she used her medical access codes to unlock Deho's cell. The shuttle bay is 3 levels up, she told him, pressing a stolen keycard into his hand. Research vessel Delta 7 is fueled and ready for launch. I programmed the navigation system with coordinates that will take you to the neutral zone. Between our fleets? What about you? Deho asked. Someone has to stay behind to cover your escape. When they discover what I did, my career will be over. But if you can prevent this war, it will be worth it. Deho squeezed her hand gratefully. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for showing me that courage sometimes means betraying everything you were taught to believe. The journey through the facility's corridors was a nightmare of hiding and running. Emergency teams rushed past without noticing one more person in a maintenance uniform. When Deho reached the shuttle bay, he found research vessel Delta 7 waiting exactly as Hyojin had promised. The small ship was designed for short-range scientific missions. It's not interstellar diplomacy. Its hull was barely thick enough to survive micrometeorite impacts, and its life support system could only function for a few days. But it had one advantage. It was fast enough to reach the space. Between the two fleets before the shooting started, as Deho powered up the engines, he felt a familiar presence touch his mind. Nara had been monitoring his thoughts, waiting for any sign that he was still alive. "You escaped," she said with relief and amazement. I felt your despair in that cell and feared I would never speak with you again. "I am coming to you," he replied through their mental connection. "But I need your help to navigate between the fleets without being destroyed by either side. Both our peoples will think you are a threat. Human ships will see you as a deserter, and Kalani vessels will assume you are an attacker. Then guide me to your flagship. If I can speak directly to your leaders, maybe I can convince them to try one more time for peace." The launch from Earth's facility was detected immediately. Within minutes, Deho found himself being pursued by 3 military interceptors led by his sister squadron. Sora's voice crackled over the communication system, filled with anger and desperate love. "Deho, stop running," she pleaded. "Come back with me, and I will testify that you were mentally compromised by alien influence. They might show mercy." "I cannot come back," he replied sadly. "Too many lives depend on what I do next." "You are flying toward an alien battle fleet. They will kill you the moment you get close." "No, they will not. Trust me, Sara." "Duh. For once in your life, trust that your brother knows what he is doing." The chase continued for 2 hours as both fleets came into visual range. Deho had never seen anything so beautiful or terrifying. Earth's military formation stretched across space like a wall of metal and fire, thousands of ships bristling with weapons. The Kalani vessels were different, graceful and organic-looking. But their defensive shields glowed with energy that could vaporize anything that approached. Nara guided him through the dangerous passage between the fleets, her mental voice calm and steady, despite the chaos around them. When human ships began firing at his small vessel, she convinced her people to extend their protective barriers around him. "The aliens are shielding the traitor," Admiral Kim's voice roared over the military. "Communication channels. They are protecting one of their agents. All ships prepare for immediate attack." "No," Sora's voice cut through the radio chatter. "He is still my brother. If you fire on him, you fire through me first." Her fighter squadron moved to intercept the military formation, placing themselves between Deho's escape route and the fleet's weapons. It was a desperate act of family loyalty that bought him the precious minutes he needed to reach the Kalani flagship. The moment his small ship docked with the alien vessel, everything changed. Deho found himself standing in corridors that seemed to be carved from living crystal, breathing air that tasted like flowers and starlight. And there, waiting for him with tears of joy streaming down her color-changing face, was Nara. She was even more beautiful than he had imagined. Tall and graceful, with skin that shifted from pale blue to golden yellow as her emotions changed.
Ow.
Her large eyes held intelligence and compassion that took his breath away. When she reached out to touch his face, her fingers felt warm and gentle. "Are real?" she whispered. "For so long you existed only in my mind. Now you are here." Their reunion was interrupted by the arrival of Elder Kira, ancient Kalani whose skin showed the deep purples and silvers of great age and wisdom. She studied Deho with eyes that seemed to see into his soul. "So this is the human who chose love over loyalty," she said in accented but perfect Korean. "Your presence here has created a crisis for both our peoples. Earth's military demands your return, threatening war if we do not comply." "Then return me," Deho said immediately. "I did not come here to start a battle. I came to prevent one." Elder Kira smiled, an expression that transformed her alien features into something almost human. "That is exactly what someone worthy of. Our trust would say, 'Very well, human. We will attempt one final diplomatic solution. The negotiation that followed was conducted over open communication channels that both fleets could monitor. Elder Kira made an unprecedented offer. The Kalani would return, Deho unharmed, and provide complete technical scans of their ships to prove they carried no weapons. In exchange, Earth would agree to one face-to-face meeting between representatives of both species. Admiral Kim's response was immediate and harsh. "We do not negotiate with alien invaders. Turn our traitor immediately, or we will take him by force." But other voices began to join the conversation. Scientists from Earth's research stations, civilian leaders who had been excluded from military planning, even some military officers who questioned whether humanity was making the right choice. The breakthrough came when Dr. Park Hyo-jin's voice joined the communication channel. Despite her arrest for helping Deho escape, she had convinced her guards to let her speak. "I've analyzed 15 years of alien encounters," she announced. "Every single incident shows the same pattern. They approach peacefully, we attack. Immediately, we have never given diplomacy a chance." More voices joined her argument. Scientists who had studied the alien technology, and engineers who had seen the peaceful applications of their devices. Slowly, opinion began to shift toward giving negotiation a chance. The moment of decision came when both fleets simultaneously powered down their weapons. It was a gesture coordinated by Deho and Nara working together, their mental connection serving as a bridge between two civilizations that had forgotten how to trust. As human and Kalani representatives met in the neutral space between their fleets, Deho stood beside Nara on the observation deck of her ship. Through the transparent walls, they watched history being made. "What happens now?" Nara asked, her hand finding his. "Now we see if love really can conquer fear," Deho replied. 1 year later, Earth had joined the Galactic Collective as a probationary member. The integration was not easy. Many humans still feared their new alien neighbors, and some Kalani wondered if humanity was too violent for peaceful coexistence. Deho squeezed her hand and smiled. Maybe that is what the future looks like. A place where love really is stronger than the distance between worlds. Earth. Through the station's observation windows, Earth turned slowly in space, blue and beautiful, and no longer alone. And in the darkness beyond, more ships were coming. Other species who had heard about the humans and Kalani making peace, curious to meet the young race that had learned to choose love over fear. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and humanity was finally ready to explore it with friends by their side.